Yes, you're still on to the economy today, and yes, I'm sure everybody knows that there's some form of inflation at the moment, and it is affecting food prices. But again, NBS came out recently to say that 0.54% has dropped in food prices, so far. But again, we do not know how that statistics is over. But I'm in the office of the executive chairman of my 12 perishable market or international market to discuss this and also know what exactly the market is doing and exactly what is coming out from the market, because what the eye sees is different from what the mouth says. Good day, sir.
My brother, it's my pleasure, my brother.
Yes, sir. Sir, before this interview, I had asked somebody how is market, and the person just smiled. He didn't say anything. I'm very sure that you know what is happening presently, and from your stance now, you can actually tell that this is exactly what is happening and why we are in this situation. I have asked you plenty questions, over food prices and everything, but right now we're heading to the end of the year, and you know how people tend to consume more goods, especially with the Christmas festivities, the New Year, and the rest of them. So, what exactly is happening right now to food prices presently?
Right now, the prices of these items a little bit coming down. Just unlike before, that onion is about 150 per basket and per bag, which is about 150 kg. But now, relatively, it's getting to like 100, 110, 90 or thereabouts. So which means it's getting a little bit down, and that is because we are getting some items. We are approaching the typical season in which you normally always get this item abundantly. So I think as time goes on, the price will continue coming down, and just because the season is on, by end of this month, December, we'll start getting a fresh market from different locations in the north. Even though we still have a lot of challenges in terms of farmers that are still in the IDP camps, but we believe the little one we have will sustain the country, and it will make things a little bit cheaper.
Okay, this is a certain listen to so many people. A lot of people want to actually hear from people who are actually directly involved. But again, outside there, this is a main market, and this is where the bulk of the thing goes to other markets. And still, there could still be some effects. There's still some other challenges being faced, like motor issues, vehicle transportation, tax being collected here and there from different people, marketmen, market women, and all those things. So, what are the things that you are looking at that could be a solution, a challenge, and also a solution to reducing that cost a little bit lower?
The challenges we have now is the numbers of people that are doing farming have reduced tremendously. Not because they are not interested, not because they have another business to do, because of the insecurity. Most of the people you see in IDP camps now, most of them in IDP camps are farmers. Both male and female of them are farmers.
Wow.
So, and as long as those guys you see in IDP camps remain there, food will be too expensive. Now, to add insults, how do you call it? To add insult to injury, the expensive of this fuel has added a lot of it. If tomato used to be maybe 4,000, 5,000 per basket, now the transport alone for a basket is about 5,000 naira from the north. From Kano to Lagos is about 5,000 naira per basket. So which means tomato will be expensive. But I believe by the time we enter the proper season, which is December, things will be relatively cheap, but only the transport that will determine, because even if you buy from Mile 12, you are taking to Mushin or you are taking to Ikorodu, it's still going to be expensive because you are going to pay a high price for the transporter that will take you down there. So I think a lot of things is happening. I think, but to me, I'm still advising federal government to emphasize more on this farming, so that people who have access to their farms, and the more those people have access to their farms, the more food we have in our tables.
Well, you know, like you said, advice to the federal government now to focus on farming. A lot of people expected some kind of push into that, especially when the issue of the supplementary budget, you know, was pushed to the National Assembly, and some of the items I do not know, because you know, internet is funny,
Yeah.
and a lot of information is passed, and some people were suggesting that why not pump this money into agriculture, pump into agriculture, into education. At least those are the two places where, if properly developed, maybe something will happen. So do you think, looking at the 2024 budget, that has not been read yet, it is not prepared yet, but we are sure that by January we'll be hearing more about that. What do you think the federal government should do with that 2024 budget that is not still here yet?
You see, security is the bane of everything. The federal government force to emphasize on security. People, even who are farmers now, are still facing challenges in their farm. Those even ones that are farms are still facing a lot of challenges in their farm, because they've been asked to bring some certain amount of money for them to harvest what they put in the farm by the
Bandits.
bandit. That's what they do. Before you farm, there's a certain amount of money you give them. After farming, you also pay them some money, you know, to harvest what you farm in the season. So it's that's also is another problem. But by the time we have a security in place, everybody will go to his farm. People will farm at ease. They will bring at ease. Even the driver who is bringing truck from, say, Kano State to Lagos will face a lot of hurdles. Fears of armed robber, fears of kidnapper, fears of bad roads. A lot of things is happening in this country. So, but at least we have a government now that I think they are very serious in this action. They are serious. They are mindful of what they are doing. They are looking into every corner to see that everything is in place. But at the same time, government always gets it wrong when it comes to the farming. We have different farmers in this country. We have mad farmers. We have suit farmers. Somebody who just put on suit and meet federal government, tell them lies, and they give him money. We have typical farmers. Those who will bring their market, that we know them very well. That I know this person is a farmer. I know he's getting this thing from his farm. He's bringing to me to sell for him here in the market. But nobody consult us. The federal government prefer to see somebody who is in suit, who will blow grammar, who will just use some theory for them, and they give him money. You convert the money to something else. You divert the money to something else instead of giving the farm. That's why we're facing all this trouble. But I think this government have learned lesson. They've not actually called anybody for anything for now. Maybe they are doing their exam. They are examining. They are looking for who do we talk to. How do you go about it? I think maybe that's what they are going now, because nobody has all called us up till now to say, okay, how do you resolve this issue of farming and agri, something like that. Nobody has called us, but we are waiting for them. We still have a long way to go. The president is just a baby in the government for now, as far as presidency is concerned. He's still learning some things to do, even though he has experience. But there are a lot of things in presidency that he needs to look, you know, here and there to cope on with his own idea. But we are very optimistic that Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu will do well to the farmers. We are highly optimistic.
So what you are trying to say in effect is that maybe presently the administration is still in
yes, they are still in searching for exactly what method will they use for farmers, what will they even do for the economy. You can see that everybody, they are just struggling here and there. But I believe by the time they get the reading, they will do well.
Okay, now, because this thing you have said now about farmers not being, people not identifying who is the, I have heard it from different people, even from original farmers that will say that, oh, the loan that they say they should collect, most of them, they are not even giving. They are always giving to big-time farmers,
yes,
who just come and who really does not need the loan. And at the end of the day, how does the federal government stop that? Because these people are still in government. They are still in that space, and they are still the ones who can approach the banks, because the normal farmer, you know, may not be able to take loan. The interest loans are given now, that's the loans they are giving at that high interest. How should the federal government be able to solve
that is why
issue?
the former president said, if you don't kill corruption, corruption will certainly kill you. There is need for federal government to dip in their hand and see who are the farmers in this country and how do we help them. Identifying the farmer is one. How do we help them is two. And security matters a lot. No matter how much you help these farmers, whatever you give them seed, you give them fertilizer, you give them whatever it takes to give them. if you don't provide security for them, there's nothing work in this country. Do you know the numbers of IDP camps we have in this country? We have many millions of IDP camps. Millions of them around different IDP camps. And those guys, you see, know nothing but farming. So for as long as those guys, I repeat once again, that for as long as people in IDP camps remain there, in the place that is not their city, it's not their village, it's not their even their state, you leave them in there, you are feeding them, you are just constituting nuisance. Provide security for them, let them go back to their villages. They will help the community, they will help their state, they will help the nation, because they will provide food across board. The reason why things are very expensive is because the farmers have been reduced. The farmers have been, even because those farmers don't have any other business, they don't even know any other business to do than the farming. If not, we couldn't even have any farmer. We have been importing everything we eat in the country now. The little one we're eating, I'm telling you, farmers' ratio has dropped drastically. The numbers of farmers, let's even say we have 5 million farmers in the country across board. Now we have less than 3 million farmers.
Wow.
So how can 3 million farmers feed over 350 million people?
Yes, with that, we'll go for a very short break, and I'll be right back to continue this particular discussion with the chairman. Yes, I'm still in the office of the chairman, my 12 perishable market, discussing the issue of price reduction or price dropping, of food commodities in the market. This was by NBC, but he's telling us a lot of other things, what the federal government is doing and how things has actually reduced a bit, but will still reduce, even maybe if the federal government listens to both them and also to the real farmers. So we're talking about security now, and I know security is one of the biggest challenges that the country has at present. And most administrations, even till this administration now, have spent so much in trying to secure Nigeria with everything, buying this, guns and everything. Do you think, now I'm sure you are not a security expert, but you know who these things affect. They are the people who actually feed us. Those are the people who these things affect so much. So do you think the federal government is approaching the issue of security the right way, or is there another way to approach it?
Yeah, I can say they're approaching this well, because now if you're going from Lagos to Abuja on roads, it's relatively very safe. Numbers of crime along that road has reduced drastically. Equally from Kaduna to Abuja, it has reduced drastically. In the axis of rural area, that's where we are having the issues. If you are going to the villages, and that's where the farmers are, that's where we're having the problem. In most villages, we have problem of insecurity. And of course, government needs to do something about that.
Yes. Now, you talked about collaborations, with the governments. Government actually reaching out to the people who knows what should be done to the farmers, which is you people. They are the people who are supposed to be spoken to say, okay, what exactly is happening in there? You are the people who are contacted directly. So, are you trying to say that you have never been reached, or you're just doing your own things and it just, this is a very big place and you are doing it, you are giving feedbacks to the government, but they are not reaching out to you guys?
You see, there are a lot of things government need to do. For instance, we in the market now, on yearly basis, we travel across board to talk to our customers and ask them. Customers, I mean, both farmers and traders. We meet traders separately, we meet farmers differently, and ask them what is their problem. Last year we couldn't go because of insecurity. The places we are supposed to go to are places that are very, very hard. Like we need to go to Zamfara, we need to go to Maiduguri, we need to go to Plateau State, but we cannot. We have to do a stopover at Kano, where we ask all those farmers to meet us there as a body of the market, to ask them what is your need, what are your problems, how can we solve the problem for you. But in all, their problem is beyond us. It's only the federal government that can solve that problem, because we don't have any ammunition. We can't do anything. We're not security agency that you can say, okay, let's help you. The problem they are facing is in their farms, and their farms mostly in the bush. Nobody heard them. No matter how they will shout, nobody will listen to them. There are no security in that place. So things will continue to be expensive for as long as federal government did not provide security for those farmers. And surely federal government doesn't have the manpower to secure all the farmers that are in the country. It's not possible. So it's a team that needs collaboration with the security agency, with the people in the community, with the farmers, the emirs, the chiefs and others, so that let us sit down and see how do we resolve this matter. How can we stop kidnappers, bandits from killing farmers? How do we assist the farmers to go to the farm with his eyes closed, do whatever he wants to do and come back home? This farmer doesn't know anything, I'm telling you. And it's not as if they're illiterate. If you call them illiterate because you don't go to school, you're on your own. They too know farming that you don't know. They analyze farming like a football. They analyze farming like just we sit down and analyze football analysis. That's how they do. So they are literate on their own part. And now these guys are not going to farm. They don't know any other thing they do. So before you know, they will even join the criminals and also become a criminal too. So the solution, as far as I'm concerned, is for federal government to think very well and provide security to the whole nations.
But they will argue that security is not all, because you have also said yourself that transportation, that's the fuel increase and the rest of them. Though there was just this news we are reading online. I saw it yesterday. I didn't believe it. I just say even my colleague also saw it and mentioned it. I went back. I said I have heard this and I've read it. That about 600 million how barrels of crude oil has been able to be produced from the modular refineries like in the east, in the Imo State and some other places. And but all those things are still like in the news.
Would that make it cheaper?
Will that make it cheaper? Will all those things happen? That's the thing we are talking about, because there have been promises of, okay, if this refinery starts working, if that refinery starts working, maybe all those things can actually reduce. But the question is, will it actually reduce? Won't the floating of the dollar or the naira rather affect all those things?
The problem of Nigeria also, we the citizens in this country, but also ourselves. Hardly anything that goes up come down. Hardly whatever goes up in this country hardly come down. Except this our perishable item that we too, because there's nothing we can do. We cannot hold it, we cannot put it in the freezer, we cannot put it in anywhere. Once it is many in the market, you must bring your price down or it perish. Apart from this, any other thing in this country that is expensive, rice begin with 7K during the rule of Jonathan. That's when they are selling 7K. When Buhari come in, it becomes 15K. Before you know it becomes 27. Now bag of rice of almost 50-something thousand naira. So when are we expecting reduction? Who is going to be the messiah that will return rice to 7,000 naira in this country?
So regulation is not even...
There's no regulation. That's it. Everything goes up every day. Everything goes up every day. Everything. The only thing that come down is tomato in the market. If you buy tomato 50,000 naira today, be rest assured in the next 5 days, you may buy 20,000 naira. And that is because it's perishable item, it may spoil at any time. I didn't mean tomato doesn't spoil. I'm sure too, the traders will find their way to make sure it's increased every day. The bread we are buying at Old English, initially it was 800, 500 to 800, now to 1,200. Every day it's increased. Before you know, you buy bread at the rate of 2,000 naira. Just one bread that you finish in no.
So one of their biggest problem is also the people, the masses itself.
Yes, Nigerians are not helping themselves. They are just accusing the government. Whatever, anybody that got chance anywhere, they utilize the chance and think they are making money. And you're not making money. Everything that goes up in this country doesn't come down. Everybody knows.